Whatever you're into when it comes to sports, you can find it right here. Now, play my intro. Now it's time for the Robb Johnson Sports Show, presented by Robb Johnson Media and the Legacy Maker Sports Network.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Robb Johnson Sports Show, episode 93. I supposed to have been on with you all at 9:30 this morning. However, that did not work, and we are here now for episode 93 of the Robb Johnson Sports Show. Welcome, presented by Robb Johnson Media and the Legacy Maker Sports Network. As you see the topics on the bottom, we're not going to be, too deep today. We're going to go into a few topics, current topics going on in the world of sports. First topic, this guy right here, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, who last year played for the New York Jets. Big expectations. Last couple of years, of course, he went over to the Jets in 2023, but he had the Achilles tear. Game 1 against the Buffalo Bills, came out with the American flag, waving it. Everybody thought that it was going to be a big-time acquisition for the Jets. Well, over his time with the New York Jets, his total record was 6-12. 1-0 against Buffalo that night when he tore the Achilles, and then last year 5-12. Aaron Rodgers last year, in I believe it was 17 games he played in, he had 28 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. Now, the biggest thing that I want to look at when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, and the question is, will Aaron Rodgers be a flop, or will he be basically will he thrive in Pittsburgh? And I personally don't know what the Pittsburgh Steelers are looking for when you look at a 41-year-old quarterback, when you have a guy who basically has not won a playoff game, I believe, since 2021. The Steelers haven't won a playoff game in about almost a decade now. You go from Mike McCarthy, who Aaron Rodgers basically got fired. You go from Matt LaFleur, who both of those guys were offensive guys, offensive geniuses. Then you go to Robert Saleh, who was a defensive coach. He got everything he wanted as far as his offensive coaching staff, the players he wanted around him. He got Devontae Smith, and they still do not have the success that a lot of people thought that they would have in New York. So you come to a situation now. You have DK Metcalf. You trade Pickens. You got Arthur Smith there. You have Mike Tomlin, who a lot of us can say we're not going to call him a lame duck coach at this point, but what we will say is that Mike Tomlin is really on the clock when it comes to his coaching career, and especially in Pittsburgh where they expect championships. It's not just about playoff wins, it's about championships. It's about who can do it's about what they can do to both have some type of success. And when you look at Pittsburgh right now, the defense is still there. Now, does the defense have some cracks? Yes, it does. When you look at the structure of Pittsburgh, is it a structure where you think Aaron Rodgers can go in and win them immediately? I don't know. I don't have the answer for that. But what I do know is that when you have a soon-to-be 42-year-old quarterback who has not won a playoff game in almost 5 years, when you have a team who hasn't won a playoff game in approximately almost a decade, and you have a coach who wants to get over the hump, and last year I feel like they should have gotten a lot further in the playoffs than they should have, but then had the end of the season struggles with Russell Wilson. They weren't able to get the proper seeding. They had to go against a Baltimore team who a lot of us knew they were not going to beat in the playoffs. So this is do or die for Aaron Rodgers. This is do or die for Mike Tomlin. This is do or die for a lot of the Pittsburgh Steelers, because this season is going to define who this ball club eventually turns out looking to be. Because with Aaron Rodgers, this is his last hurrah. If he goes out and he doesn't play well, this is going to be his last season. You look at DK Metcalf. He goes from Seattle, which wasn't the greatest situation to begin with. When you get rid of Russell Wilson, you go to Geno Smith. Geno Smith is now gone. He goes to Vegas. So he gets a fresh new start. So what is this going to look like for DK Metcalf? What is this going to look like for Arthur Smith? What is this going to look like for Mike Thomas? So there are so many elements to this situation. Do I think that Pittsburgh can thrive? I do. Because, again, Rodgers had 28 touchdowns, 11 interceptions last year. But you have to look deeper than just the numbers. The numbers are deeper than what – and then you look at the record. Because Rodgers did not get along with – supposedly did not get along with teammates last year. I can't confirm or deny that. I don't know that. But what I do know is that it's deeper than numbers. Even you look at Russell Wilson. You look at how the media in general has treated the Russell Wilson trade and how he had decent numbers. And then you look at Aaron Rodgers, how he had decent numbers. But there's this – it's kind of like this love-hate thing, more love than anything with Aaron Rodgers, where everybody expects to see the guy who threw for 37 touchdowns and 4 interceptions going back to 2021, and he took his team, I believe it was the NFC Championship game against Tampa where they lost, which basically was his – looks like I think that was his last playoff win was in 2021. Ever since 2021 and 2022, Aaron Rodgers was 8-9 with the Packers. Again, 1-0 with the Jets, but that was only for one game. And then this past year, 5-12. Aaron Rodgers in his career, folks, is 12-10 in the playoffs. He's 12-10. So, and overall, I think lifetime he's 156-91 in the regular season. So could this be the year where Aaron Rodgers actually loses 100 games in a season? We don't know. We'll see. It's hard to say. It's hard to really prognosticate what this team is going to do. But do I see a Super Bowl in this team's future? Heck no. Do I see a team that could possibly win a playoff game? Possibly. But if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, is this what you really want? Is this really what you think that is going to get you to the top of the mountaintop? If you do, then good for you. If you don't, then I'm there with you because I'm 50-50 right now. I can't tell you whether Aaron Rodgers is going to go in there and he's going to thrive or he's going to blow the place up. Because what evidence have we seen that has shown us that he will do that? So who knows? We'll see how it goes. Quick WNBA update. The Chicago Sky defeat the Connecticut Sun. Angel Reese with a triple-double, 11 points, 11 assists, 13 rebounds as they defeat the Connecticut Sun. And I believe they moved their record to 3-7, which should put them 5th in the East. So good job there by the Sky. That was actually, no, we have a couple other games there. We have the Atlanta Dream against the Mystics, the Mercury against the Las Vegas Aces. But let's go back to yesterday as we switch topics. Let's go back to yesterday and let's highlight a game that was probably one of the games of the day, besides the fact that we had, I know we weren't going to mention hockey on here, but it's a quick NHL update. The Florida Panthers defeated the Edmonton Oilers yesterday in a really good playoff series, 5-2. They lead that series 3-2. But let's go back to the WNBA yesterday where one of the highlighted games, the Indiana Fever defeated the New York Liberty, the previously undefeated New York Liberty, who were going for 10-0. Caitlin Clark comes back from injury. She goes for 36 points? Let me make sure I get that accurately. No, she went for 32 points, 8 rebounds, and 9 assists, almost getting the triple-double. Kelsey Mitchell, 22 points. Did a really good job in that game as well. Leah Boston had 10 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists, almost getting a triple-double as well. The reason I say the WNBA has a problem right now, folks, is this. And shout out to the Indiana Fever for winning that basketball game. That game pushed their record up to 5-5. So they're now 3rd in the East, while the Liberty are still 1st in the Eastern Conference. So the reason I said WNBA has a problem, folks, is this. They have a Caitlin Clark problem. And the reason I say they have a Caitlin Clark problem is not because of on the court. It's because it's off the court. It's because of all the noise. See, a lot of you WNBA, a lot of you new WNBA fans, you are looking at this young lady and you're putting so much pressure on her, I feel like, because you have the side where it's like, oh, we want her to succeed so bad and, she can do no wrong. But she's not perfect, folks. Caitlin Clark's not perfect. She's not perfect. She'll never be perfect. She will never be the perfect basketball player. She has deficiencies like everybody else. Also, when you look at it, you have another segment of the new fans population where it's like, oh, this girl Angel Reese, she sucks so bad. What do they call it on the internet? The me bounds and all that other stuff. See, what I don't appreciate is, see, if she was going out there and she wasn't rebounding and she was just trying to act cute all the time and wasn't trying to go hard in the paint, you would say she was lazy. You know, so that's my issue when it comes to Angel Reese. Also, my other problem when it comes to WNBA is their scheduling. Why is it that they schedule certain games during, like, I think it was like WNBA finals? They had games on, they threw games on at 10 o'clock when they knew that the NBA finals were on, and you know that would take away from the brand. Schedule games better. Schedule the games like it used to be. Have the WNBA finals in late August instead of having the WNBA finals going up against the NFL playoffs or the NFL, not the playoffs, I'm sorry, not the playoffs, but the early NFL slate. We got a heck of an NFL slate coming up early this year. And you're trying to put that against the NFL, and that's not going to work. You also have it where, me and Larry Patterson will be back, for the Sunday Night Heat, the Sunday night, the Sunday Night Hype coming up again this August, where we'll be talking about football. But in the past, when we just did this regular Robb Johnson sports show, we actually went in depth about the women's game, talked about the women's game, things like that. And you can see that on your just normal platforms, they don't talk about the games. They talk about one topic. They talk about Caitlin Clark, and that's it. They don't talk about anything else. They don't talk about certain other topics, deep points that go into the game. It's all about Caitlin Clark, or did somebody foul somebody too hard, or did this little thing happen? It's always about controversy. And I think that the WNBA needs to fix that. They also need to market more of their players. You got so many marketable players like Rickea Jackson. Rickea Jackson, I believe, should be almost at the top of your your list as far as marketing, because not only does she play very basketball, but because, let's be honest, looks, and because of the social media presence. I think the whole thing about the fashion, I get it, I understand it, but make it, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing for the sport, because it highlights them on social media, talking about the fit and all that stuff, but also highlight the basketball, because I think sometimes, it used to be where people say, "Oh, the WNBA is not getting any love because the girls dress too much like too much like the dudes and all that other stuff. They don't do enough dresses, blah blah blah." So now they've reversed that. Now they do the dress, they do the fashion. The ladies dress more women like, stuff like that, which they can do what they want to. That's their business, etc. I just think that you have to also highlight the basketball. That's one thing about the WNBA. I feel like from about when it first came to the league, around 96, 97 to about 2004, 2005, something like that. It was all, and when Candace Parker came in the league, it was all about the basketball. Yes, they did highlight some of the fashion, they highlight some other things, but it was about the W. It was about the basketball on the court. And that's why for the people who come in and say that, well, the sport isn't about basketball, it's not about this, this is the best the sport's ever been. Well, yeah, I realize the sport just has been around for only about 20, almost 30 years now. The NBA has been around for 100 years plus, something like that. I can't even remember. I don't know how long the NBA has been around, but it's been around a lot longer than WNBA, NFL. It takes a lot longer for these leagues to get established. 30 years is not a long time to get established for a league. So yes, you're going to have records that they're going to be broken. You are going to have certain things that are done that are going to be highlighted because it's never been done, because the league has not been around that long. And plus you have a lot better offensive players that are coming around, more athletic players. You got to think about some of the players that played in the WNBA back then, how much older they were. Like, look at Cynthia Cooper. Can you imagine Cynthia Cooper being 20, 21 years old, coming to WNBA? How many records she would hold right now? You look at Lisa Les, if she had been a little bit younger. I mean, even though she was still young at the time, imagine she had been younger. As some of these young ladies come into the league, how many records they would have been able to break. and would have still held to this day. So I think that's it. I think the biggest thing for NBA, WNBA for as far as their fixing is, doing more than just fashion, highlighting the basketball, giving people a history lesson, more of a history lesson about what the league has been, and highlighting some of the great players that have come in the past, and highlighting how great of a league this has always been. So that's just my 2 cents on that. So let's go to the NBA Finals. We have a 2-2 series right now between the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Next game will be June 16th, which is 2 days from now, which is a Tuesday. We have Oklahoma City against the Indiana Pacers to see who will go on and win that game and who can win a deciding Game 6 in Indiana. So before the series, I picked the Indiana Pacers in 6. I'm not budging from that. I'm not budging from that whatsoever. I believe that the Indiana Pacers, and I'm not going to sit here, folks, and say they've been completely disrespected, but you look at last game, they lost that game 111-104. They had a lead in that game. And they had an opportunity to win that game. First game out, they won 111-110. Second game, they lost 123-107. They won game. Was it game 3, 116-107, with an opportunity to go up 3-1 Tuesday night. And the Oklahoma City Thunder came in, did what they were supposed to do, play like they were the better team, because let's be honest, they are the better team. They came in this postseason with a record of 68-14, so of course we know they were the better team. But I will say this. This series so far has been very physical. This series so far has been a series where I think that the Indiana Pacers have kind of matched the intensity of the Oklahoma City Thunder. If you look at the points right now, you look at the ranks right now as far as both teams and what they are. Oklahoma City 120.5 in points per game. Indiana 117.4. 3-point percentage, 14.5 a game for the Oklahoma City Thunder, 13.2 for the Indiana Pacers. So they're right there. And rebounds, 44.8 for Oklahoma City, 41.8 for the Indiana Pacers. And if you honestly look at the stats, if you really honestly just look through everything, even free throws, 81.9%, 78.9% for the Indiana Pacers. Everything is about even. When you look at the stats of the night for game 4, everything was even. The problem is that a lot of times when you are the Indiana Pacers, when you get the lead, you have to make sure that you capitalize on that lead. You cannot let Shai Alexander get any rhythm. You can't let Chet Holmgren get a rhythm. And once those guys get a rhythm, it's kind of hard for Indiana to get that momentum back. This series so far for me has been all about timely offense and timely defense. And if you're Indiana, you want to get a lead on these guys, because you look at this upcoming Game 5. It almost looks like an Oklahoma City blowout in a lot of ways if you just look at the record and you look at the history of how Oklahoma City has been this postseason. But I can almost guarantee you for sure that if you're Oklahoma City, you have to make sure that Tyrese Halliburton does not get going. You have to make sure that he's not the number one. I'm not going to say he's not the number one threat, but more like you have to make sure that if you are playing against this Indiana team, you're not letting the other guys get things going. And you know what I'm talking about. Now, Pascal Siakam, for me, he's the key. As much as we like Tyrese Halliburton, Siakam has to play great basketball for them to win this series. If you look at him so far in this series, Game 1, 19 points. Game 2, 15. Game 3, 21 points. And Game 4, 20. Pascal Siakam, for me, if Indiana's going to win Game 5, he's got to go for at least 30. Pascal Siakam for me, has to go for at least 30. And as I said before, Tyrese Halliburton is the key to this team because he is the engine that keeps it going. But if you want to win a championship, Pascal Siakam has to be the guy who has to score at least 30 in Game 5 for the Pacers to go back home and have an opportunity. Benedict Mathurin, look at game 3. In fact, let's go through his series for him. Game 1, 5 points. Game 2, 14 points. Game 3, 27 points in 22 minutes. Game 4, 13 minutes, 8 points. See, that's the type of crap that pisses me off so much. And I understand it's about matchups, and I understand that there's certain things that go into certain games. But for him to play 22 minutes in Game 3, score 27 points, for him to only get 13 minutes in Game 4 and only get 8 points, that's crazy to me. You have to give this young man, the minutes. He's 22 years old. He came out of Arizona. Coming out of Arizona, I thought he was going to be a really good player coming into the league. And for him, he has to score at least over 16. At least over 16 points. He has to get into rhythm. And I think that takes the pressure off Halliburton. That's the key, folks, is taking the pressure off of Halliburton. If you're Indiana, Siakam, Mathurin, these guys, Miles Turner especially, he's got to be able to take the pressure off. Look at his series so far. Game 1, 15, 16, 9, and 12. Miles Turner has to be that guy that if he's going to be able to be effective, as I look at his three-point shooting, and this is the key right here. Miles Turner last game, 0 for 6. Let's look through the whole series. Game 1, 2 for 5. They won that game. Game 2, 1 for 5. They lost that game. Game 3, 1 for 4. They won that game. And then on Game 4, 0 for 6. They lost that game. So you're telling me that essentially Miles Turner has to make at least 2. If Miles Turner can make 2 to 3 3-pointers a game, Indiana can win the basketball game. That's basically what you're telling me, because in Game 1 he was 2 for 5. 2 for 5. Indiana's 3-point shooting has to work because Oklahoma City is very big in the middle. When you have these big dudes that can dominate in the paint, you have to be able to make your mid-range and your 3-point shots if you're Indiana. For me, Oklahoma City is very simple. Points in the paint. If you're Oklahoma City, you get your guys hungry, and you get your other bigs, and you get them in the paint, and you make things happen. That's how I look at things, folks. If you're Indiana, I'm not saying that you can't stop guys like Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that if you are the Indiana Pacers, you can't really do much if those guys decide to get into the paint and work you. So, in fact, I want to look at a stat. I'll see if I can find this stat for you all really quick. If I can find this stat, let me see. Let me pull it up. Go back to Game 1. All right. So, because I'm really interested in seeing this. Points in the paint, Game 1, 46-34, Oklahoma City. That was Game 1 where they lost. Game 2, points in the paint, 42-34. They won that game. Game 3 where they lost. Let's look at this again. Points in the paint. I'm just very interested by this. In Game 3, the Pacers actually outscored Oklahoma City 50-48 in the points in the paint, which is shocking. It's actually very shocking. And then in Game 4, let's look at points in the paint. 50-36. Do you understand that, folks? Last game where they won that game by 7 points, 50-36 in the damn paint. Oklahoma City. It's not that difficult, folks. It's not that difficult. Get your guys in the paint. SGA, I don't need you shooting 3-pointers. Get to the paint. It's not that hard. You can do it. If Oklahoma City really wants to win this series, they're not going to win it by being cute. They're going to go old school. They're going to get in the paint. I need to actually see 60 points in the paint. I need to see 60 points in the paint from these guys. That's what I need. I need to see that. I need to see 60 points in the paint from Oklahoma City. And if they do that, I think they'll win the game. But if they get cute with these three-point shots, then we will see a team that will lose game 5 and go back to Indiana and be lame ducks and not win the series. So that's just how that goes. Now, folks, real quick, let's go to our top 5 Heisman candidates for the upcoming season. See, remember last year we had Travis Hunter who won. It was what? He was a cornerback / wide receiver. So of course he plays some offense. But he was a defensive player, first defensive player since Charles Woodson in the 90s, University of Michigan, to win the Heisman. So we know that it is a quarterback-driven, offensive-driven award now. We understand that. So let me give you all my top 5 here really quick. So if you're asking me today as of June, what is it? June the, what is it say? June the 14th, June the 15th, whatever day it is. Basically a month, 2 months out from the college football season. Who do I have as my Heisman runner-ups or winners so far? Top 5. I'm going to give you guys some stunners. Maybe give you a little bit of surprises. Number 5, I'm going to go Kevin Jennings, quarterback from SMU. I think he's going to be really good this year, number 5. Number 4, DJ Lagway, quarterback from Florida. I think he has the ability to do some really good things coming up this upcoming season. Number 3, wide receiver from Ohio State, Jeremiah Smith. Number 2, I'd be a fool if I don't put Arch Manning there, because if Arch Manning doesn't play well, Texas won't play well. They won't get to the college football playoff. They won't have a chance to win a national championship. So that is who I have there. Let's see here. At number 1, I actually have a surprise for you guys. Right, this is just for right now. I'm gonna give it to. Let's see. It's a lot of good choices here. I'm actually gonna go Jeremiah Love, running back out of Notre Dame. They have a big game against the Miami Hurricanes, game 1. He's gonna be the key for that team. So right now I have Jeremiah Love as my Heisman favorite going into the 2025-26 college football season. Of course, it's going to change. That's just for today. That's not going to be anything concrete. That's just something that I have so far for you guys. Just giving you like a way too early view of that. So let's go to our next segment, our last segment, and then our tell the world how we feel.
I need you to shut the hell up for the immediate future.
Again, back to the WNBA fans. You guys are very suffocating. You guys have got to stop. Listen. Everyone knows I'm an Angel. I like Angel Reese. I'm a fan of hers, but the slander of Angel Reese has got to stop. It's got to stop. I don't like it. Too much of it going on out there. The me bans, all that crap. Also, even the people who do too much with Caitlin Clark, like, give the young lady a break. I mean, she's only one person. I'm gonna go back to what I said earlier. She's only one person. She is a really good basketball player. She just likes to do her own thing. This whole, Clark versus Reese versus, the world versus, you gotta stop it. It's dumb. I understand rivalries, that old school rivalries. We had the Bird, the Magics, we had the Michaels, the Isaiahs, we get that. If you all want to debate basketball, but these other things, man, they kind of go a little bit too far. And I think that we have just gotten to the point where we don't make it about the basketball anymore, and that's when it becomes dangerous, because then you kind of threaten the league in a way of, are we not going to discuss the actual basketball? As I said earlier, we shouldn't be on TV debating. It shouldn't be all about, and I get it, social issues and all that. But when the social issues go more than the basketball, then people aren't as interested in the games anymore. And the games are still very good. So let's keep it to where the games matter. Keep it to where the games matter, and all the other crap can be talked about in another setting. But let's make sure that the games stay alive and that we're able to give the games the credit that they deserve. let's go to our last segment of the day. Right now, folks, we're living in a country where a lot of things are going on, a lot of crazy things are going on. My best advice for everybody is just to make sure you do your research. Make sure that you are taking care of your business. Make sure that you're not getting yourself in any conflicts. They're not worth it. This type of stuff that's going on in America right now is nothing new. It's happened before. It'll happen again. Just continue to do your research. Continue to try to use the most educated guess you can make before you get on social media, before you get onto these social media platforms, before you start spewing things. Just like I said, do your research and understand what the history of these things are. And yeah, we'll go from there. And other than that, make sure you watch a lot of sports, have fun, enjoy the MLB, which we got going on. We'll talk more MLB next time that I'm on here. I'll be back on Tuesday for episode 94. Hopefully, I'll give you guys a time tomorrow. Also, Gold Standard Wrestling will be back talking wrestling as we go into SummerSlam season. I'll give you guys a time for that tomorrow as well. I don't want to give you anything too concrete right now. I have to make sure I have those times available. Usually I have my shows after Raw, but a lot of conflicts going on with that right now. So a lot of time management conflicts right now I got going on. But other than that, just watch out for the Robb Johnson Sports Show episode 94, which will be again on Tuesday, and Gold Standard Wrestling, which will be in the next couple of days. Watch out for that. Watch out for the Robb Johnson Sports Show. Watch out for everything Legacy Maker Sports Network has coming at you. Also, Robb Johnson Media. As we go into the summer and fall season, football is on its way back, folks. Let's go.